I want to talk about concept of concavity, and what I've done here is I've created an equation, and it's a cubic equation. It's this one right here. It is f of x equals x times the quantity x minus 2 times the quantity x plus 3. And you could multiply that out, but I figured I'd multiply that, and you can see the roots here of this, and I want something in which you could see that the function is increasing, it has a horizontal tangent, and then it's decreasing, comes to another turnaround point where I have a horizontal tangent, and then I have increasing. And I want to define concavity, and I'm going to define concavity more in a geometric sense. And what I have here is I have the tangent line, and you could see it in red here, and it's tangent at point A. And this tangent point right here, this is right here where it says x sub a, y sub a, that's the x and y values of point A right here on the function. And you can see as I move that, those functions change. And also I have is, this is the derivative or the slope of the tangent at that particular point. And you can see this tangent is right here. I think I can get rid of this, hopefully I can. And right here I have the equation of the tangent line, and it's the derivative at point A, or the slope of the line, and here's x minus x sub a plus y sub a. So this right here is the equation of the tangent. And I want you to take a look all the way along this interval. This tangent line, if you noticed, is above the curve all the way along here. All the way along here, it's above the curve, all the way along. Okay, and as I turn, it's still above, and then I'm going to come down in this direction, and I'm going to kind of slow it down a little bit here. Oops, sorry about that. I didn't want that to happen. And right here, again, it's above, but then if you watch this tangent line, something unique kind of happens. There's a point here where it's above the line and below the line. Do you see that? It's about right here somewhere. On this side it's above the curve, and on this side it's below the curve. And it's kind of somewhere around there. And then as I continue on, see how it's dropping down on this top side here? It also becomes below the curve. And now my tangent line is below the curve the entire time. So it switched places. Here it's below the curve. And right here, it switches to above the curve. So anytime it's above the curve, we say the function is concave down. And anytime this tangent line is below the curve, we're going to say it is concave up. It kind of switches here. Sorry about the Sketchpad. And I'm going to give this to you, and you can pick this up on your computer and manipulate this. All right. So that's one thing. That's how I'm going to define concavity. If my tangent lines are above the curve, it's concave down. And if my tangent lines are below the curve, it's concave up. Okay, that's the first part I want you to see. Now, I'm also going to do this. I'm going to create a little table here, and I'm going to focus on these two values. And so I'm going to bring them next to each other. And I'm going to get a table, and I think under measure it says tabulate. Right here under number it says tabulate. And right there I have an x value, and I have a slope. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this a little bit. Oops, I'm going to bring it down here. So I do that. And then I'm going to, okay, how do I do that? Now I got to make sure I think if I double click on it, there I go. So now I'm down here. And if I change it, see? I'm going to double click on it again, and I get the next line. Double click on it again. And I want to show you some, oops, I want to show you something about this table. So here I had negative x, and I'm moving from left to right, as you can see here. And take a look. First, my slopes are dropping. Here I'm at 4, almost 5. Here I'm at 3. Here I'm at -1. I'm going to move it a little bit more. I'm going to drop it a little bit more. You see, I'm getting more and more negative. And this is also where my tangent lines are above the line. I'm getting, here I'm at a positive, now I'm at a negative. And now when then watch what happens here. See if I can slow it down. More negative, more negative, more negative. Yeah, still getting more negative. -6, I'm going to click on it. So I have that. -16, more negative, more negative, more negative. Oops. I click on it right here. Now, oh, look what happened. See, I'm at a -6.33, and when I drag this, it starts to increase. Now, notice now that my tangent line is below the line. I changed concavity, didn't I? I went from concave down to concave up, and my tangent lines are beginning to increase. They're getting bigger. Here they're going to be really close to 0. Hopefully I can get rid. Oops. You gotta be touchy with your finger. There you go. That's pretty good. I think that might be a miracle, actually. And now they're going to get really big fast as I move here. So you can look at these numbers. I'm concave down. I'm decreasing my slopes of my tangent line. My first derivative is getting more and more, getting smaller. And then about here, it switches, and I'm on concave up. It increases. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to graph the derivative. And that's this right here. Plot function. And I'm going to make that a particular color. I made it green, and I think it's kind of ugly. Let's make it this dark green. And let's give it a thicker line style. Yeah, medium, I guess it's a. And so you could see right here, this point, and this point right here. Oops. Where is this? Right here. Remember, it's the 3.3 right there. Look, I'm right at this. There's a relative minimum on the derivative. Notice my derivative, it's decreasing, right? Here's my derivative. Here, the green is these plots. It's decreasing up to this minimum point, which is about -0.34, -0.633. You see that? And then it starts to increase here, and that's where these are increasing. Now what I'm going to do, I think I can graph the determine the derivative of that function, which is this. Now this is the second derivative. And you see the 2 tick marks. And I'm going to graph that. And I'm going to give that a different color too. I'm I'm going to make it blue, I think. And you take a look right here. See this point right here? See this point here? Here, this is dropping. Here it's negative. These values are negative, and then they change to positive, and then the green line starts to increase. So where the second derivative is positive, my original function, remember that black function, right here is concave up, and where it's negative, it's concave down. Where it is positive, my first derivative is increasing. Where it's negative, my first derivative is decreasing. All right, we're going to come back to that and try to put some ideas together in some notes.